Let's review the properties of integers. Remember, a property is a math rule that is always true. We will start with the commutative property of addition. This rule states that the order in which you add the numbers does not matter. Changing the order of addends does not change the sum. A plus B is equal to B plus A. As an example, 6 plus 4 is equal to 4 plus 6. This property does not apply to subtraction or division. The associative property for addition states that changing the grouping of the addends does not change the sum. C added to the sum of A and B is equal to the sum of B and C added to A. As an example, 1 added to the sum of -5 and 8 is equal to the sum of 8 and 1 added to -5. The distributive property is one of the most important properties in algebra. It helps us work with parentheses. Multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend by that number and then adding the two products. This property states that the sum of B and C multiplied by A is equal to the sum of the product of A and B and the product of A and C. Here is an example with numbers. The sum of -2 and 3 multiplied by -6 is equal to the product of -6 and -2, or 12, plus the product of -6 and 3, or -18. Next, let's look at the identity property for addition and multiplication. 0 is the identity element for addition because you can add 0 to any number, and that number's value does not change. Using variables, we say 0 added to A is equal to A. For multiplication, 1 is the identity element because if you multiply any number by 1, the value of the number does not change. Using variables, we say A multiplied by 1 is equal to A. The inverse property for addition states that if we add an integer and its inverse, the result is always the identity element of 0. 9 plus -9 is equal to 0. So, -9 is the additive inverse of 9. The inverse property for multiplication does not exist for the set of integers. Fractions are not included in the set of integers. Finally, we have the zero property of multiplication. This property states that the product of any number and 0 is always 0. -7 multiplied by 0 is equal to 0.